What is going on? Welcome to the first official episode of the UDDA Winner Podcast. I'm Dan Black, and joining me, as you will every week, SportyJordy. Jordy, how we doing on this Tuesday evening?
I am doing so great. Happy to be here. Happy to be doing this show with you. There's a lot we have to get into tonight.
A ton to talk about. All over the sports landscape, some NBA, college football. We have the second playoff committee meeting tonight to decide who could or could not be making the college football playoff. Obviously, some NFL stuff to talk about. But the first thing that I want to talk about real quick, some breaking news this afternoon. I'm not a huge fight person. I don't know if you are. Are you?
I tune into the very major fights. I don't watch all of the ones leading up to it, but this one definitely has my undivided attention.
Yes. So speaking of the NFL and the NBA, Jake Paul has been in, headlines a lot for his fighting, but joining him on his newest fight on the undercard will be Frank Gore, former NFL running back, against Desean Williams, the former point guard, best known for his days with the Utah Jazz. So they are on the undercard of the Jake Paul, Tommy Fury fight. Will you watch Frank Gore fight Desean Williams?
I absolutely have to watch this. I am so curious. And we saw Frank Gore in the NFL doing what he does. We saw Williams in the NBA doing what he does. And Frank Gore is legitimately 38 years old. So the fact it took him way too long, in my opinion, to retire, I was shocked he was still in the league. And granted, I'll give him credit. He still had his moments. He was still kicking and all that jazz. However, now you're 38 years old, you finally retire, and now you get in to fighting. It really blows my mind. And the way he talks about it, he's very confident. He's like, I can't wait to show you guys what I've been working on. So I definitely want to see what he has cooking and see if he's got it. I want to see if Williams got it. I just think it could be really interesting.
Yeah, I would not step in a ring with Frank Gore. He is a terrifying looking human being. I once worked at a day camp with a kid that looked exactly like Frank Gore. I called him Baby Frank Gore. Same fate, to a T. It could have been Frank Gore's son.
That's insane.
It was nuts. No one else saw it, so maybe I was just crazy. But that will be, I think I have to watch that. But it brings to light just how absurd the whole fighting scene is now. Imagine 5 years ago, you would have said, all right, Jake Paul, which he didn't even exist, some YouTube star is going to be headlining a fight, and a part of the undercard is going to be a former NFL running back and a former NBA point guard fighting each other.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I honestly think, though, I understand for the people that have been super invested in fighting for a very long time. I understand how this can seem very comical and very silly to them. But on the other perspective, for people, a lot of my friends that don't ordinarily watch fighting all the time, it is a good way to draw attention and bring in a new crowd and bring in kind of that entertainment and exciting factor to it. So it's not these aren't necessarily, I'm sure they train for these events, but they haven't spent their whole life devoted to becoming a professional fighter. But it adds a level of, I would say, entertainment that I think people just keep eating up.
Yeah, no, it's very much like a WWE feel, but it's actually getting punched in the face.
Yes.
It's got the entertainment value of the WWE with the realness of a street fight. And I think that's how you got to promote it. But
definitely.
It will be, I have no idea if Frank Gore can fight or Desean Williams. I think Frank Gore is from Miami, and some of those guys can fight. So it's where Masvidal is from. So we'll see. I can't wait for that. But let's talk about what's a little more important to us. The NFL, weird week last week. Before we get into anything regarding what happened last week, looking forward to this week. Don't forget to join the Gridiron Games for what week are we in? I believe
week 10.
Week 10. Week 11 in the college side of things. Week 10 in the NFL. Lots of great Gridiron Games to choose from in the UDDA app. We have one college football one and 3 NFL this week. One is a highest bankroll win, so you just win the most money, you win. And others, you need to get all the answers right. But whichever you choose, you'll have a ton of fun. You have a chance to win real hard cash. So make sure you, if you don't have the UDDA app downloaded, you download it and join the Gridiron Games for this week. Let's recap our bets that we had last week. You did a
Yes.
lot better than me. You were one game
Which I'm
shy.
shocked. I
Were you
know.
upset by that?
I was, just because it was literally the week of the upset. Everything that could have went wrong for some
Yeah.
teams. But
Yeah.
yeah, I had the Raiders were the one team on my card that I picked that let me down. They fell to the New York Giants, but Dolphins, Cardinals, Ravens, and Patriots all stepping up. I actually almost switched my Cardinals pick because I decided on that when Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins were still both questionable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, realistically, one of the two of them will play and everything will be fine. And then that morning, both of them were out. And I was
Both
like,
were out.
they
It
were
was
both
nuts.
out. And I was like, do I still roll with this or is it time to switch it? And I was like, you know what? I made my bet. I'm sticking with it. And it ended up working out. They completely, Colt McCoy appreciation, man.
Yeah,
They
really.
completely demolished the 49ers. So that was great.
It was shocking to watch how, like, it you know, especially the 49ers. Last year, we gave them the benefit of the doubt, right? They had a ton of injuries. Fair enough. And the year before, they're in the Super Bowl. So it is shocking. How much is it coaching? How much is it quarterbacking? How much is it lack of talent? Because we assumed that their issues last week or last year were just for the fact that they were all in the hospital because the entire team was
They
hurt.
did not have the team. They were literally
They-
pulling guys up from their practice squad, like,
Yeah.
before every game.
Yeah, it was like what teams did during like World War II. They just like found random people to play, and that seemed like it was going on in San Francisco last year. This year, they're mostly healthy and still not very good. I don't understand it. I also was a victim of the upset, sort of, because
Sort of.
Cleveland did beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been not great. I
No,
also,
the last 2 weeks, it's a little concerning.
yeah, it's very concerning. I also shot myself in the foot by taking the Panthers. I knew that was a dumb pick. I knew
I
it.
went against you on that one. That was like one of my locks for the day. Patriots were gonna, and like I wish, because I was one of like the Sam Darnold apologists. Like I was so convinced that he was going to go to Carolina and remake this name for himself and prove like he was only a bad quarterback in New York because of coaching and because of the system there. And he has really let me down over the span of these last couple weeks, getting benched at one point a couple weeks ago. So I gave up on my love for the Panthers and I definitely had to take the Patriots this week.
Yeah, that was I was not confident in that. I was not confident in that. Yeah. The Panthers, Sam Darnold, not the answer down in Carolina. Clearly.
Yeah,
But you know,
definitely
looking at like the major upsets of last week, take out the Jaguars, because obviously the Jaguars beating the Bills is
Could
blasphemy.
anyone have predicted that? Did
No,
anybody?
but
I would love
if
to
you
know.
did, you
I
would have
want
made a
someone
lot
to
of
come
money.
forward and tell me that I woke up that morning and I put money on the Jags over the Bills because I just want to hug that person. I really want to give them the credit that they deserve
Yeah,
because
they
that
deserve
is,
it.
yeah, we woke up in an alternate universe and it was the most boring game ever. It was Josh Allen, defensive Josh Allen was MVP of the whole
He
freaking
was great.
weekend. Great. And just got the best of quarterback Josh Allen, who is in actual MVP conversations on the Bills, who are Super Bowl favorites for most people right now. So it was just the most wild game.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and it wasn't even like it was just bad. It was like 9-6. Like it was just
Yes.
like
Oh, it's terrible.
gross. It was
Yeah.
gross. It was
The
bleh.
literal only exciting thing that happened that entire game was Josh Allen, defensive, getting
Smacking
the
Josh
best of
Allen.
Josh Allen, the quarterback. Just
Yeah,
one for their names, and two, my man was just having a day. Like he was
yeah,
just out there and he was just balling.
yeah.
Ironic that they have the same freaking name, but it was just
And that they're both
great
great.
play all the way around.
So, like, of the other three teams that were the major upsets, the Giants, Broncos, and Titans, which one shocked you the most?
I would honestly say the Titans just because I wasn't worried for the Titans' well-being. You know what? No. The Titans shocked me. The Broncos, that was
Yeah.
unreal. Just because one, Dallas was at home. I would expect Dak to be a little bit shaky coming back after the injury. However, he's still Dak Prescott, and we saw what the Cowboys did without him. So I was like, even if Dak doesn't play 100%, they're still in a great position. Their defense has stepped up. I really thought they were going to be fine. That wasn't even one that crossed my mind at all. And then for the Broncos to come in and do what they did, it was just really impressive. And as an Eagles fan, I know you can feel this. The fact that we have to play them next week, I thought this was going to be an easy win. And now I'm terrified. So that was nuts. Why I almost said the Titans was because especially losing Derrick Henry. I am honestly convinced that the Titans without him are still going to be able to move forward and be fine. And I'm not convinced their season's over, but I thought it was going to take them a week or two to kind of figure it out and figure out how to adjust. And you're going up against the Rams, which have been incredible on offense. They have this terrifying defense. I was like, that's not someone you want to play after losing your star running back. There's no replacing Derrick Henry. So for them to come out and do what they did, it was really great. I was really happy for them. And it was so funny too, because right before that game started, I was like, oh, the Rams are locked tonight. But with the way the rest of the day has gone, I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans won. And I
Exactly.
started kidding, and then it ended up happening. And I was like, all right, fair. That's fair.
Yeah, no, like I'm with you on the Broncos. And I mean, one, not to get too much into the fandom of things, but the Eagles are playing in Mile High. Never an easy game to play.
Never.
So that air is a different beast. But yeah, the Broncos winning shocked me, especially because the Cowboys have been on such a roll, and even when they had Cooper Rush in, they didn't really miss a beat. So
No.
you would have expected things to sort of continue as they were. And listen, yesterday was the definition of any given Sunday, and
Yep.
we're in the part of the season that I always feel is like the make or break part. Like this is like November is like the month where it really shows who you are, because by this point, right, you're at the midway point. Like if you have a rookie, they're pretty indoctrinated into the system, into the NFL life. If you have a guy that came over from another team, he's pretty comfortable at this point. So like you have everything in a level of comfortability. Everyone's sort of banged up by this point. They played 8-9 games. So I think this is the make or break. This is the part of the season that tells you exactly what a team is. And can win or lose, seasons, can end seasons, and can really be the jumpstart of things.
Definitely.
You look at Kansas City; they're slumping right now. Who knows if this free fall can, change something?
Yeah, and I get it. They got a win over the Packers. That's
Not
great,
convincingly.
but not convincingly, especially when their offense couldn't do anything. The Chiefs should have been 40-7, not 13. Like it was a win, and obviously at the end of the day, that's all that really matters if you can
Right.
squeak it out. But it doesn't make me feel any better about the Chiefs moving forward for the rest of the season. And that was their first win against an opponent that had a winning record all season. That's like so beyond concerning. I can't even wrap my head around it.
Yeah, so let's talk about some losers of the week. We just talked about some big winners, some shocking
Yeah.
winners. Let's talk about the losers. The Chiefs, one of them that, even though they beat the Packers, they have yet to really show that they've fixed any of their woes. Patrick Mahomes still looks lost. The offense looks lost. And I don't know if they can figure it out. And maybe it's just, hey, they're having a bad year, and we're so used to them being supernatural
Yeah.
that they had to come back down to earth, and it just feels like because they were so high that they're like crashing, even though maybe it's not as dramatic. I don't know. What do you think?
I honestly, I kept the first couple weeks of the season, I kept defending them. And I was like, listen, I know they haven't looked great, but it's the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. They're going to figure it out. We can't worry about the Chiefs. We can't worry about Mahomes. We're going into week 10 now, and you have the wins that you've gotten haven't been convincing at all, and your losses have been that much more embarrassing. So I think taking
Mhm.
all of that into consideration, they're not in the playoff picture right now. You have the Raiders who Chiefs got lucky. They got to win this week. Raiders got a loss. But you also have the Chargers. You have the Broncos who are they surging again after their hot start and then their quick decline? Like there's so many big question marks in this division. And with the AFC being as competitive as it is, you can't feel comfortable with where the Chiefs are right now. So they need to win out basically, and they need to run through their division because they already have division losses. It's just I'm not confident in them. And with the way everything is looking, I can confidently say I don't think we are seeing the Chiefs in the playoffs at all right now.
Yeah, I don't think that's a hot take. I really don't. No, they have they've looked normal. Is the best
Yeah, they
way
look
that I
like an
can put
average
it.
football team.
Yeah, they haven't, aside from early in the season, um where they looked like the Chiefs of old, they just look average. Like they don't look special in any way. And I think, maybe it's something that's good for them in the long run. Like, they've been praised as the next great dynasty for, the last couple of years. And maybe they just needed sort of a kick in the teeth to I don't think any of them are super ego filled, people. Like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't come off like that. Andy Reid doesn't. Travis Kelsey doesn't. But like, just in general, maybe they just needed a kick in the teeth to bring them down to earth and to sort of humble them going into the rest of the season and going into next season. But we'll see. The next 20 days will mean a lot for the Chiefs.
Definitely.
If they can end November on a high note, maybe they can sneak into the playoffs, but that's the only way I see it happening.
Yeah, I just think the AFC is way too competitive right now. And then you have the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Bengals that are all fighting for a playoff spot in one division. It's just pure chaos right now.
Yeah. And speaking of chaotic, Odell Beckham is officially a free agent.
The first time.
Yeah, really. There's been a lot of talk about where he will go next. The main story is Green Bay.
Yep.
Thoughts? Where do you think Odell Beckham ends up?
So the one thing I'm in a tricky situation with OBJ right now because when he was first released, or there was talk that he was going to be released, I was like, I honestly feel kind of bad for him because he had this diva reputation in New York. Then he went to Cleveland, and really, there's been no drama with him in Cleveland. Like, he's been dealing with all the injuries, but when he's healthy, he goes out there, he makes the big plays. He's done his job in Cleveland. He's not that wide receiver one that consistently is getting all the touches, but every time Baker has needed him to step up, OBJ has been there. So I've kind of liked the narrative that he created for himself there. So I was defending him this whole weekend. I was like, I feel bad for him. I want him to find a nice home, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he comes out and he's like, if I don't get picked up by a team that has a winning culture, I'm going to make it hell for everyone. And I was like, OBJ, I was like, I just sat here and defended you so much. And I said, you are being so mature. And now you come out with this. But I was like, it's fine, whatever. I'm glad the Lions kind of stepped back and they were like, no, we're not going
Yeah.
to go for it. Because I was like, that, given everything he said, I was like, this would have been a very bad idea.
Yeah.
But I think the Packers would be great. I think that would just 100% send them to the Super Bowl because they're already a completely solid team. And then you just add in that extra explosive piece, especially after losing Robert Tunyon. It's just going to be super exciting for them. And I know they have receivers, but when you add that, you see what the Bucks have done. It's an exciting shift that you can have and have all these options. However, I honestly think the best landing spot for him is to be in New England. I think they're on the verge of being a playoff team. I think we could definitely see it happen this season if they keep up this winning streak that they've been on.
Yeah.
They have a solid roster on offense and on defense. You have Mac Jones, who is someone that I crucified all throughout the draft. I was not sold on him at all, and he has just come out this season and completely proven me wrong. He's been fantastic and finding his own groove, finding a relationship with Belichick. And then you add Odell Beckham into this, and I think kind of like Green Bay, but in a different aspect, he could be the difference maker for them. And having that veteran presence on a team that kind of, we saw Belichick go out on his spending spree and kind of just put all these people together. And then you bring that veteran presence in just over halfway through the season. I think it would be really special. And I think it gives him the opportunity to kind of be that star that he still wants to be. So I don't hate Green Bay, and I understand why he wants to go to Green Bay. But personally, I would like to see him in a Patriots jersey.
Fair enough. My original landing spot, and I think Green Bay, if he goes there, would be unbelievable. How do you stop that offense is the real question between Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Odell Beckham. It's very, very tough. The other place that I thought would be interesting, and granted, this was before their loss this weekend, was the Raiders. I felt Derek Carr he's a good, very good quarterback, are easily the best quarterback that he would have played with in the NFL. The culture of Las Vegas itself fits Odell Beckham. He would automatically be the number one wide receiver, obviously, since, what happened last week with Henry Ruggs and everything. So we're not going to get too much into that. And they're very much in a position to make a real playoff run, especially with the Chiefs being in a down year, the Chargers being in a bit of a rut, although they bounced back this last weekend against the Eagles.
I know. I saw my Justin Herbert jersey hanging up behind me, too. That was a tough game
terrible,
for me.
bad, wrong.
I know.
But I felt like the culture of Las Vegas mixed with the person that is Odell Beckham, and where they're at, and given the fact that the odds are the Chiefs and the Chargers aren't going to be this bad next year, that this is sort of that 1 year to really go for it. It just felt like that would be the right thing to do for them. Who knows? I don't. I think he eventually does land in Green Bay, and they easily become the odds-on favorite, probably out of the NFC, and it will be an incredible playoffs. It'll be unbelievable.
Definitely. I was also on board with OBJ to Las Vegas, especially like you said, after the Henry Ruggs news. They did go out and pick up Desean Jackson, which is interesting because
is it though?
It's just the consistency. Will he be able to Henry Ruggs was a big playmaker for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Desean Jackson is not going to come out and be a consistent playmaker for you. He'll make a big play every once in a while. But that's all you're really going to get from him. And that's if he can stay healthy. So once they made that move, I was like, I doubt they're going to go out and get OBJ on top of them. So I kind of didn't love the Desean Jackson move there for them, but whatever. You can't win them all.
I don't think one really has an effect on I don't think Desean Jackson would be stealing receptions from Odell Beckham.
I know, but after that signing, I just don't think they would sign Desean Jackson and then go sign. I don't think the two of them would clash at all. I honestly think it could be really cool because they're both these big playmakers.
Yeah.
But and then you have Renfro in the mix as well. But I just don't see them. I feel like that was like their move. And they were like, this is what we're rolling with to get us through.
It ain't going to get them far, I'll tell you that much.
I know. I don't think so either.
Before we wrap up the NFL section of our program, let's look ahead to Week 10. Some interesting matchups this week. Got an AFC West matchup between the team we just mentioned, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. And then we also have a big one in the NFC, Seahawks and Packers. We will see, hopefully, the return of Russell Wilson. He has been cleared. And possibly
the return of Rodgers.
Possibly the return of Aaron Rodgers. So which of those games are you most looking forward to?
As long as both Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are back, that is the game that is going to have most of my attention, just because these are two teams. The Seahawks especially are in a tough position because in their division, they're fighting against the Cardinals and the Rams for a playoff spot, who are both just absolutely killing it. So if Russell Wilson can come back and kind of get them on a winning streak, if he can come out strong, it still gives them a chance. And then the Packers, like, up against, like, because think about it. The Seahawks, if they were not in the NFC West, guaranteed playoff team. And honestly, I'm not going to put them in Super Bowl conversations, but they're a very strong team. So to have the Packers, who we have in Super Bowl conversations a lot, especially in the NFC right now, which is pretty wide open, I just want to see how the Packers can play up against a very solid team, because they've been running over the little teams here and there. So I want to see them up against someone a little bit stronger. Chiefs and Raiders is definitely exciting. Raiders need to get the win here if they want to make a playoff push. This is like a must-win game for them. I'm not saying if they lose, they're out and their chances are over, but if they can get ahead of the Chiefs here, and they absolutely can, given the way the Chiefs have been playing, it just gives them that extra push. It gives them that momentum, and it gives them that edge within this super competitive division to move on. And like you said earlier, this is the year for the Raiders. Take advantage of the Chargers having a rut for the last 2 weeks. Take advantage of the Chiefs not looking anything remotely close to the Chiefs that we are used to, and use that to your advantage.
Yeah, I would say it's a must-win really for all these teams for different reasons. For 3 of the 4, it's just to at least stay in the playoff hunt and stay in their divisional hunt. And for the Packers, it's about seeding. They're going to win their division. It's about being able to try and get that first round bye, or at least a bare minimum get some home field advantage, get some playoff games in Lambeau. So both are intriguing. I would love to see a Jordan Love versus Geno Smith matchup. But I'm just kidding. That'd be terrible. But yeah, it's a must win really for all these teams in their own ways, and I'm intrigued by both of them. I like both of them. So we will see what happens in week 10. I can't believe we're already in week 10. That's nuts.
I know. Hopefully week 10 is easier on us than week 9, because week 9 definitely took years off my life.
Yeah.
That was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But your thing, let's get into the college football a little bit.
Love college football. Don't like the NCAA, love college football. That's neither here nor there. It is the second college football playoff rankings. That's coming out after our show later tonight at 9:00. But the main story of the season, obviously, has been those pesky Bearcats from Cincinnati. Could not get into the top 4 last week. They won again by the skin of their teeth. That was
a must-win game.
Yes. No, every week for Cincinnati is a must-win because the committee doesn't want them. Like, they've made it clear. They don't want Cincinnati. They want Cincinnati to lose. I wouldn't be surprised if they started shaving points to try and get Cincinnati to lose. Who knows? I'm going rogue here, There's no conspiracy theorist here. But, do you think they finally get into the top 4 tonight?
There's no reason for them not to.
I agree.
You can't keep making the argument at this point. And I get it. They can say last week they barely squeaked out a win. But at the end of the day, it's a win. They got the win. So you really can't keep denying them at this point.
Right. There's part of me that kind of wants them to go undefeated, win their conference championship, and the committee puts them 5th, and I'm just like, we're not playing next year. Just be done with it.
You have to give up at that point.
Right. I 100%, I would give up. But and I'm all for the belief of you put them on a neutral field with Georgia or Alabama or even Ohio State. Are they probably going to lose? Yeah, most likely. But at the same time, I've seen Oklahoma get into the playoff and get absolutely smacked around by Ohio State and Clemson and Georgia and Alabama, every year. I mean, they lose by 3 touchdowns. So why not let Cincinnati get smacked around?
Remember when Rutgers first made it into the Big Ten and they couldn't win a single game because they were playing with all these incredible schools, and Rutgers was a good football team that just made it in. in those situations, and now they're figuring it out, and their program
Right.
keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. In these situations, you sometimes need to throw these teams to the wolves and just see what happens.
Right.
Who cares if Cincy gets absolutely annihilated? It gives them a chance. And when they're winning consistently, they deserve to be in these conversations. So there's no reason for them to keep getting denied.
Right. Like I look at it as like if they do everything that you've requested them to do, and what like in terms of winning all their games, winning a conference championship, and you still don't let them in, then you're basically signaling to all these other Cincinnati type teams, don't try. Basically,
Exactly.
don't do your best. Don't show up because we don't care. Like, and then it just ruins the whole idea of college football. And it just
It
ruins
really
everything.
does.
It shows the BCS wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad.
You've been doing pretty good in your records. Where are you sitting right now? You're 3-3 right now?
I'm 3-3. Last week I went
And right at
3-3. Illinois. What up? They won. I wanted them to lose. Terrible.
What's
Come
going
on,
on?
Minnesota, run the ball, That's what I'm saying. But I was very right. Hopefully, whoever, listened to that video took Army. They beat Air Force. Shocking upset over there. But yeah, Illinois, not a fan. I think Minnesota, I think they got a bounce back week here up ahead, but they're pretty banged up. But yeah, I will have another video out coming up and a game, actually. It'll be in the UDDA app under the contest. We'll have a Saturday 6 game, both the video and the game coming out on Thursday afternoon. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Tons of great games to pick from. Lots of ranked teams involved. A big Big Ten matchup in Happy Valley to kick that one off. So look forward to that. Hopefully I can be over 500 and no one will upset, me and not lose like I want them to. But enough football talk for right now. Let's head over to the NBA. Interesting time for our Sixers, you and I.
Yeah, no,
Good.
it's really tough. I thought being a Sixers fan the last decade has honestly been pretty
It's been
painful.
awful.
It's been really, really terrible. And you would think the worst of our problems would be surrounded with Ben Simmons and that drama. But no, we are literally out almost every single starter in our starting 5 right now. We have the bench mob going up against the Bucks tonight, which was a game I was super excited to watch. And now I'm just like, I might watch with one eye closed because it could be really painful.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be probably a slaughtering, to say the least, But like the one thing that I do love about this Sixers team is they are a resilient bunch. All right,
This is true.
They have found ways to still win, even through the injuries, even without Lord Ben Simmons, and we can talk about the new rumor going on with him.
Celtics?
Yes.
Yes.
Shall we chat?
I do it. Yeah, do it. I am all here for this deal. I think it's fair. I think it can be quick, easy, painless, rip off the Band-Aid, solid swap. I want it done like yesterday.
Painless like a shot of tequila.
I don't know how painless that is.
That I could have said Malorts. That's very painful. You ever have Malorts?
No, I haven't.
Well, you're lucky. You've never been in Chicago then.
No, I haven't. It's on my list.
It's the worst alcoholic beverage you could possibly drink. But you got to drink it. You got to try it once. Anyway.
We'll see.
It's gross. It's not good. But yeah, no, I am all for this. I don't know, like, and apparently Daryl Morey asked for the kitchen sink, which clearly they hung up right away. The Boston Celtics did. Yeah. Clearly, he's not getting that. But no. I have been a huge Jaylen Brown fan. I think he fits the culture of the city. I think he would fit perfectly with Joel Embiid. He's a grinder. He's gotten better every single year. I mean, he was he was actually in the same class as Ben Simmons. He was the third pick. And people said, why are you taking this kid from Cal who, has no offensive game, 3rd overall? He's worked his way into a, 20-plus point scorer, into an all-star level player. And I think, he would just be absolutely perfect if they can get that done.
I think it's
That's all
brilliant.
I
And
gotta
I think
say.
it gives us the best chance to win moving forward. So,
Yes.
and like I was a Ben Simmons apologist up until the layup. It was that moment where I was like, you know what? I am
Oh, I
packing my
haven't.
bags. That was the end for me. I was like, I'm done.
I remember
So,
the date. I remember the day I was off the Ben Simmons bandwagon. We all remember that day.
yeah, everyone has that one
Everyone
specific
has the
moment.
day.
It was the end.
Whenever game 7 of the Raptors series, I was
Yep.
done. That was it.
Oh, you were done during the Raptors series?
Oh yeah, I was done.
No, I
Well,
held
I was
on.
done. I was done on draft night in 2016, to be honest with you, but I stuck around.
No, I did not make it that far. But enough. Sixers, it's our team. They're in the news a lot right now. There's another team though that we have to talk about that I don't really want to talk about, but we have to get into.
Yes.
Are the Golden State Warriors back?
So back.
Or is it just Steph out there being Steph?
No, they're like. I mean, this shouldn't be like surprising because they're obviously uber talented. They only got better over the last couple of years, having just 2K'd the league of like being the Warriors, having the talent they have, and also having like 3 top lottery picks the last 2 years. So they've just obviously been better. I
I've
don't
just
like.
been enjoying the NBA. Like I enjoyed the NBA finals without them. Like it felt like the New England Patriots to me because we saw so much of them over the last handful of years that when they stunk, it's like you should kind of feel bad for them. But I was like, I can't feel bad for you. I was like, I don't want to say I enjoy watching this team lose because that sounds really mean. But at the same time, it kind of felt good. Like I was like, you know what?
No,
But I love Steph Curry. I respect the hell out of him. You can't not. He's just absolutely remarkable in every way, shape, and form. So good for him. He's on like this tear right now. But yeah, I think they're back. I think we should be a little worried.
Yeah, I'm glad they sort of had their, reckoning the last couple of years. Like,
Yeah.
they absolutely made the league just unwatchable, being as good as they were, especially when they got Kevin Durant. So it was nice to like just see them just get absolutely manhandled by life.
It was balanced because they were so good, and then they literally got like the
so
life
terrible.
knocked out of them. Yeah, I was like, now we can come in the middle. You can be good, you can be average, and I'll support you.
Right. Yes, I'm excited to like see Steph back in the playoffs. Like I miss him in the playoffs and Clay in the playoffs and like in that atmosphere. That'll be great to see. And yeah, it'll be, and like seeing them against LeBron in the playoffs, well, that'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Or Luka or whomever. It'll be a good time in the Western Conference playoffs. Real quick, before we go into one last thing, let's talk about tonight's matchups. It's Tuesday night in the NBA. Only a few games to pick from. I think we both sort of agreed. The first one, the Bucks Sixers, probably not going to go well. At least I don't think.
I took the Sixers.
You took the Sixers. You're braver. You're braver than I.
Loyal. I'm just because like realistically, this is a very easy win for the Bucks, and I am a Giannis. Like I am so obsessed with him. Everything he does, I just think he is the greatest human being ever. I wanted to go to this game so bad, and then I realized that I would be watching our scrubs, and I was like, "There's no point. I'm gonna watch it on my couch." But this is an easy win for the Bucks. I feel so bad for us right now that I am really hoping our scrubs are like, you know what? Let's get this done. It's a home game. Let's rally. The Bucks have been struggling. They're not the champions that we saw at the end of last season. They're hit or miss. So I'm going to say the Sixers bench comes out and mobs the champion Bucks tonight in Philly.
Yeah, I don't agree.
That's fair. It's probably a
wholeheartedly don't agree.
This is all hurt. This is all hurt.
Yeah, listen, ask Matt Stafford about loyalty and how well that turned out for his career. The next game, the Jazz and the Hawks. we again disagree.
You didn't take the Jazz?
I like the Hawks. Trae Young. I'm a big Trae Young fan. I hated him. Didn't like him. Didn't think he would be good. I like Trae Young.
Really, I am not on.
Because he's everything that Ben Simmons isn't.
I mean, you're not necessarily wrong, but it pains me to admit that you're also right. The Jazz are undefeated at home, and the Hawks are 1-6 on the road. So that just to me just screams, I'm just rolling with the Jazz.
It's fair. That's fair. We did agree on the last one though. Clippers, Trailblazers. We both took the Clippers. I think that's a pretty safe bet.
I mean, when the Trailblazers played the Clippers in October, they literally lost by 30. So I was like, you know what? Even if they like step up a little bit, the Clippers should still be a very easy win for them.
Yeah. I mean, I love Damian Lillard more than any basketball player in the history of basketball, but I know his weaknesses, and defense is one of them. He's not great.
And the Hawks have been terrible on the road. Portland is also terrible on the road right now.
Yes. One last thing before we wrap things up. College basketball tipped off tonight. We got the Champions Classic. I think Duke is playing Michigan State, I believe, and then UNC playing Kentucky, or is it Kansas playing? I forget. But anyway, college basketball is back. My Indiana Hoosiers, they are playing Eastern Michigan, which is not as exciting as the Champions Classic. But Michael Woodson era begins, and I can't wait to watch them raise a banner next year. Just kidding. They're not very good. But speaking of college basketball, I know. I lived through it. I know how Indiana basketball works. All right. I'm a Hoosier for life now. I get it. Torture. It's torture. But in celebration of NCAA basketball being back, we do have another contest to tell you about, a bankroll contest in the UDDA app. It is 1,500 UDDA bucks to join. So, get into the UDDA app and join that. Help us celebrate the beginning of the college basketball season. I can't wait for college basketball now that it's back. I love it.
I know, so do I.
Yes, it is super exciting. Villanova played today. Did they win?
I don't know if they won. I was so busy getting ready for this. I actually have not kept up enough.
Dedication.
Thank you. Hard at work. Do you want to hear a fun fact before we log off?
Yes.
My birthday is March 30th, 1998. I was born on the night of the March Madness Championship in 1998. I believe it was Kentucky. I know it was Kentucky won. I believe they were playing Utah. So now I am like a Kentucky. Like I love Kentucky just because they won on the night I was born. And now my dad, I always win March Madness. Even when I was like a kid and I didn't pay a single clue when I was in my family pool, I always came in first, second, and third out of like 60 people. And my dad is like, where the heck did you come from? This is solely because you were born on the night of the championship. Like you just have this luck now. So I am everything about March Madness. I live for. My father that night was so excited for the game, and obviously his first child was being born.
That too.
Yeah, priorities. But then he actually made it home for the game and he immediately fell asleep, and my uncle never lets him live it down. So yeah,
it's fair.
Very happy. NCAA basketball is back.
Yes, it is. I'm excited, but also don't like that you're a Kentucky fan.
Sorry. It's literally just like my birthday. Like there's just something there.
That's fair. All right. Well, plenty that we talked about. It was a great first show, and we can't wait for you all to join us next week, same time, same place, right here on the UDDA Winner Podcast. She is SportyJordy. I am Dan Black. We will talk to you next week.
Yeah, make sure to give us a follow everywhere at UDDA_winner. Bye.